Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare. की जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासी गौर भक्तों की जय। गौर निताय की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। The verse for today is 37 from second canto, chapter 7. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam Purvirmayena Vigitabir Adrishya Turbihi Lokan Grinatham Mati Vimoham Ati Pralabham Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhasyate Aupadharmyam Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhasyate Aupadharmyam Devadisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam Purvirmayena Vigitabir Adrishya Turbihi Lokan Grinatham Ati Vimoham Ati Pralobham Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhasyate Aupadharmyam Devadisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam Purvirmayena Vigitabir Adrishya Turbihi Lokan Grinatham Ati Vimoha Ati Pralobham Visham Vidhaya Bahubhasyate Aupadharmyam
Devadisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam
Gisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam
Purvirmayena Vihitabir Adrishya Turbihi
Purvirmayena Vigitabir Adrishya Turbihi
Lokan Mati Vimohanati Pralobham
Lokan Grinatham Mati Vimoham Ati Pralobham
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhashita Aupadharmyam
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhasyata Aupadharmyam Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Nishtithanam
Purvirmayena Vihitaviradrishaturvihi
Purvirmayena Vigitabir Adrishya Durbihi
Lokangnatam Mativimoha Pralobham
Lokan Grinatham Mati Vimoham Ati Pralobham
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhashatyat Opabudhyarmam
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubhasyate Aupadharmyam
Devadvishang Nigama Vartmani Nishtitana
Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Nishtitanam
Purbir Mayena Vihita Biradrisha Torbihi
Purvirmayena Vigitabiradrishya Durbihi
Lokan Gnatang Mati Vimoham Mati Pralobang
Lokan Ganatham Ati Vimoham Ati Pralobham
Veshang Vidaya Bahu Bashata Padarmyam
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubasyate Aupadharmyam
Devadivisham Nigam Vartamani Nishtitanam
Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Nishtitanam
Purbir Mayenya Vitabir Adrisha Turbi
Purvirmayena Vigitabiradrishya Durbihi
Lokan Ganatam Vati Vimoham Ati Pralobam
Lokan Grinatham Ati Vimoham Ati Pralobham
Visham Vidaya Bahubashyata Anupadarayam
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubasyata Aupadharmyam
Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Nishtitana
Devadvisham Nigamavartmani Tishtitanam
Purbir Mayena Vihitabhiradrishya Turbihi
Purvirmayena Vigitabiradrishya Durbihi
Lokangnatamati Vimohamati Pralobham
Lokan Grinatham Ati Vimoham Ati Pralobham
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubashyata Opadharmyam
Vesham Vidhaya Bahubasyata Aupadharmyam Devadvisham, of those who were envious of the devotees of the Lord. Nigama, the Vedas. Vartmani, on the path of Nishtithanam, of the well situated. Purbihi, by rockets. Mayena, made by the great scientist Maya. Vihitabihi, made by Adirshya Turbihi, unseen in the sky. Lokan, the different planets. Krinatham, of the killers. Mati Vimoham, bewilderment of the mind. Ati Pralobham, very attractive. Vesham, dress. Vidhaya, having done so. Bahubasyata, will talk very much. Aupadharmyam, sub-religious principle. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Chai Prabhupada. Translation. When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles. Please repeat after me. When the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, annihilate inhabitants of different planets, flying unseen in the sky on well-built rockets prepared by the great scientist Maya, the Lord will bewilder their minds by dressing himself attractively as Buddha and will preach on sub-religious principles. Purport. This incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali Yuga. In the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas, and in one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic and preaches common sense religious principles. Such ahimsa is not a religious principle itself, but it is an important quality for persons who are actually religious. It is a common sense religion because one is advised to do no harm to any other animal or living being, because such a harmful actions are equally harmful to he who does the harm. But before learning these principles of non-violence, one has to learn two other principles, namely to be humble and to be prideless. Unless one is humble and prideless, one cannot be harmless and non-violent. And after being non-violent, one has to learn tolerance and simplicity of living. One must offer respects to the great religious preachers and spiritual leaders, and also train the senses for controlled action, learning to be unattached to family and home, and enacting devotional service to the Lord, etc. At the ultimate stage, one has to accept the Lord and become his devotee. Otherwise, there is no religion. In religious principles, there must be God in the center. Otherwise, simple moral instructions are merely sub-religious principles, generally known as upadharma, or nearness to religious principles. Om Ajnanam Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Padanti Swa Padantikam. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Before I speak, utter any words, I seek the blessings of Maharaj at his lotus feet and all the assembled Vaishnavas. Here, in this verse, before we get to the details of the verse and the purport, quite few interesting terms are here. Deva Dvisham. Deva Dvisham. Deva, the word Deva generally refers to Krishna. Then also secondarily it refers to all the Devatas. But here it not only refers to the Devatas, the demigods, but also anyone who's devoted to the Lord. Therefore devotees. Deva refers to all the devotees, not only the earth planet, but all the planet, wherever they are. Dvisham. Dvisham, Dveshi. This is quite interesting term because there are two classification or categories of enemies in our life. There are two types of enemies, external enemies, not the internal ones. One is called Dveshi, another one is called Ari. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in the 9th sloka, Sugrun Mitrari, Udasina, Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhusu. In this sloka, Krishna says there are two types of enemies. One is Dveshi, another one is Ari. Both are enemies, but the difference between these two is Dveshi is an enemy out of no cause. That person doesn't like me because he doesn't like me. There's no any cause. I didn't do anything to him. He didn't do anything to me, but we don't like each other. He is my enemy. Nothing. Like Shishupal. Krishna did not do anything to Shishupal, but Shishupal hates Krishna. Pandavas did not do anything to Kauravas, but Kauravas, Duryodhana, headed by Duryodhana, he hates the Pandavas. These type of enmity is called Dveshi. No cause, but I don't like each other. Shri Shri Gaur Nitai Ki Jai. Whereas Ari, not Hari, Ari, without H, Ari, is one who hates someone because of some reason. They hurt, they did something to me, they spoke something bad to me, They stole my property. They kicked me out of wherever it is, whatever. Therefore, there's a reason for developing an enmity towards someone. Therefore, that type of enmity is called Ari. But you didn't do anything to me, but I don't like you. I hate you. That's called Dveshi. Now, important point why I'm emphasizing on this word is because they were Dveshi, Nigama. There were people who hated devotees for no reason. There were people who devotees did not do anything for them, but they hate the devotees. They are called Deva Dveshi. Deva Dveshi. Nigama. Nigama is a well-known term for all of us. Nigama kalpataror ghalitam phalam sukhamukad amridam dhruva samyuktam bibada bhagavatam rasamale muraho rathika bhuvi bhavukaha. The invocation prayer of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nigama means the Vedas. Nigama kalpa means the tree of Vedas, the Vedic tree. Nigama kalpa. Therefore, this says when the atheists, after being well versed in the Vedic scientific knowledge, this is seem to be contradictory, right? If you're atheist, then how can be well versed with Vedas? If you're well versed with Vedas, then you cannot be atheist. You have to be a theist. But there are people who take up Bhagavad Gita or any literature, not for the matter of understanding the essence of it, but to find faults in it. Finds faults in it. Therefore, they can justify their theory, whatever their theories are. Therefore, they study Vedas, but they are atheists. Therefore, in many times, people are there who are very good in chanting the slokas, mantras, stotras, Vedic mantras, but then their bhakti is pretty much zero. They don't have any bhakti towards God, Krishna. They don't believe in chanting. They don't believe in doing yajna, surrendering to a spiritual master, nothing, because that is how they are. Their head is weight. They have a head weight. Therefore, they cannot bend to anyone. Now, little background before we start here. This Canto 2 is a conversation between Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, which is being narrated by Suta Goswami to the sages of Naimisharanya, headed by Saunaka Rishi. Now, Parikshit Maharaj asks some question to Sukadev Goswami. And Sukadev Goswami in return says that this is exactly the same questions asked by Narada Muni to Brahma. Therefore, let me tell you that conversation. Therefore, if you see in our dealings with devotees, Vaishnavas, they don't try to give advice directly. They say, okay, you're having some concerns, you have some questions, you have some doubts. Let me tell you what I heard from my spiritual master. Let me tell you what is said in Bhagavatam, what Krishna says. They won't say that, let me give you an advice. Even though they may not say this, but that's what they internally mean, that when they give advice, I'm just giving this person an advice, giving a shelter, giving guidance, what I received from my Guru Parampara, my spiritual master. On behalf of my Guru Parampara, I am helping this soul to progress in Krishna consciousness. This is an important message that we should also understand when we go out and preaching. Now that we become a spiritual master or we become a lord of that person, right? Rather I'm serving this person, bringing him to Krishna consciousness. I'm simply doing a service to my Guru. He sent me out to do this one. Let me do, because he can't be everywhere. Therefore, he sent me. Let me do it for him. Therefore, the conversation happens between Narada Muni and Brahmaji. This is in second chapter 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is the last chapter, by the way. The conversation between Brahma and Narada, 4, 5, 6, 7. Beautiful conversation. In this particular chapter that we are in, Brahma is saying, what are the different incarnation that Lord took? Ajana mano bahuda vijayate. The Upanishad says, Ajana mano bahuda vijayate. Aja means one who has not taken birth. One who never takes birth. Ajana mano bahuda vijayate. Bahuda vijayate means one who never takes birth have taken many, many births. Inconceivable for us to understand. What? How can one say, the Veda says one who not taken birth have taken many, many births? Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacha Arjuna. Krishna says in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, Arjuna, you and I have taken many lifetimes in the past and will be in the future. But you don't remember, I remember. Yes? You don't remember, I remember. We don't remember because of our limitation. We have our limits. We can't do many things because of our limitation. And the limitation is put because of our karmas. But Krishna, when he takes birth, he can remember not only previous lifetime, everything. Why? Because Krishna is not bound by karma. Therefore, Krishna takes many avatars. What is said in Bhagavatam is just few, 24, 25 has been mentioned. But there are many avatars, unlimited. Narada Muni says, Varaha, Yagya, Kapila, Dattadriya, Hamsa, Narasimha, Vamana, many avatars. These were Prithu, Rishabha, Hayagriva, Matsya, Kurma, Parasurama, Balarama, Rama, Buddha of verse, this one. The previous verse is Veda Vyasa is also incarnation of the Lord. And then the next is going to be Kalki. The next verse is going to be Kalki. So our topic for today is focused on Buddha. Buddha. In Jayadeva Goswami, he has written this Dasa Avatara Stotram, where every day we sing one of it, Narsimha. Tabakara Kamala Bare Nakam Adbhuta Singam Dhalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bringam Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. This is one of the stotra. Likewise, in the 9th stotra, Jayadeva Goswami says beautifully there, Nindasi Yajna Videraha Sruti Jhatam Sadaya Hridaya Darshita Pasughatam Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Everyone can repeat after me, just the last line. Keshavadrita Buddha Sharira Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Keshavadrita Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Interestingly, in the Sanatana Dharma, in the Vedic system, there is no temple for Buddha. There is no temple for Buddha. Buddha has not been worshipped. If you go all over the India, what I'm talking about, the Vedic system, of course there are Buddha temple and shrines and so forth. But that's not part of the Sanatana Dharma, Vedic system. Why? If the Lord has appeared as himself as Buddha, why can't we have a temple? We have in some temples of our ISKCON temple, we can see Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra, we can see Sita, Ram, Lakshman, Hanuman, right? And we fast on a different Vamana Avatara and Balaram, many avatars that we fast all these days. But in the calendar, we don't see that fast half a day at least for Buddha. Even though Buddha appeared, the philosophy that he taught is not according to the Vedic system. Therefore, we don't take his teachings, but with great respect, we pay our obeisance and respect to Lord Buddha, but we don't take his principles. Like how? Simple example. In Krishna, when Krishna appeared, usually we say, set an example. You have to set an example so your followers can follow in their life. What Krishna did, marrying to 16,000 girls, stealing butters, speaking lies, right? So I'm saying I'm going to follow Krishna's footstep? No. We don't do that one. Krishna can do all those things, but we cannot do that. What we have to do is we have to follow the footsteps of Lord Ramachandra, who set an ideal example, but we have to take the advice from Krishna. Because Ramachandra did not give any great lecture. He didn't give Bhagavad Gita, but he set an example by his action. Whereas Krishna, not by his action, but by his words. He both spoke Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, we take advice from Bhagavad Gita and live life by like Lord Ramachandra. Similarly, Buddha, when he appeared for a certain purpose, certain reason. In this particular sloka is not the first time where in Srimad Bhagavatam Buddha has been mentioned. In the first canto, 3rd chapter, 24th sloka also speaks about various avatars. In that also, Tata Kalo Sampravarte Sammohaya Suradvisham Buddho Namyan Anjana Sutaha Kikateshu Bhavishyate. In the beginning of Kali Yuga, the Lord will appear as Lord Buddha, the son of Anjana, in the province of Gaya, just for the purpose of deluding those who are envious of the faithful thesis. So now, with that background, that's just a background. Let's see the history over here. In our Sampradaya, every single devotee must know this sloka, this verse. There's no devotees who are saying, I am member of ISKCON, I am initiated, I am disciple of so-and-so, I am Prabhupada disciple. But what is the important message of our parampara? It lies in this verse. That is, Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni, then Nirvisesha, then Sunyavadi, Pachasha Deshatarani. I offer my respectful obeisances to A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Krishna, who is servant of Saraswati Goswami, who came just to get rid of two main things, Nirvishesha and Sunyavadam. Nirvishesha and Sunyavadam. These are two big schools of thought. Big schools of thought. All over the world, whether they call it as Mayavada, whether they call it as Advaita, whether they call it as Buddhism, Jainism, Charvakam, Lokayakam, these are different terms. Because what in the religion, the religion can be classified into two: heterodox and orthodox. Heterodox and orthodox. Orthodox are 6 schools of thought. They are Nyaya Shastra, Mimamsa Shastra, Vaisheshika, Yoga Shastra, Sankhya, and Vedanta. These are 6 schools of thought which completely base their principles on Vedas and Upanishads. Their theory is completely based on Vedas and Upanishads. They agree Vedas. They are called orthodox. The heterodox are those who deny the Vedas. They are Buddhism, Charvakam, Jainism, Lokayakam, and all the scientific things that goes around in the world. They do not agree Vedas. The only ways that we can know the existence of God, not by Google, not by doing a search, not by any other means, not by saying that show me God. I want to touch God. I want to see God to believe. There should be some theory behind the existence of God. Let me do some research. None of these are the means by which we can understand God. The only way that we can understand God is through Shabda Pramanam. There are 3 ways that by which we can understand any subject matter: Pratyaksham, Anumanam, and Shabdam. Pratyaksham means by my senses, I'm blind. I'm just going here and doing this one. Oh, this must be a mic which is stand. By my senses, I can understand this is mic. And the second thing is, because I have an experience that I've seen a mic previously, when the mic is present before me, it's not a new subject matter for me. I've already experienced what mic means. When I come tomorrow to the class, it's not a new stuff. Oh, this is mic. I know because yesterday I know what it was, mic. Therefore, this must be a mic. Anumanam. But none of these can be a way by which we can understand Krishna, God. The only way we can understand is Shabda Pramanam, that is through Vedas. Therefore, these heterodox people, the school of thoughts of heterodox, they completely denies Vedas. They do not agree to Vedas. That's their thought. And they also call themselves as religion. They are religious. They also call themselves as religion. Now staying within our subject matter of Buddhism, Buddhism is not something which appeared in the 5th century or the 6th century by the person called Gautama Buddha, a part of India, a king who renounced his kingdom and become an enlightened person. People generally have an idea that he is the founder of Buddhism. The truth is, Buddhism has been existing for a long period. This whole heterodox, the Buddhism, Charvakam, Jainism, all this has been existing for a long period. In Ramayana, we can find, in Ramayana, when Lord Ramachandra, Shri Nitai Gaur Nataraj ki jai, Gaur Nitai ki jai. In Ramayana, when Rama was in Chitrakoot with his brother and wife, Bharata comes, Vashishta comes, all the 3 queens comes, Kaushalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, with all the ministers, everyone comes to convince Rama to take him back to Ayodhya and make him king. Along with them, another sage comes. His name is Jabali. His name was Jabali. Appointed by Dasaratha. That means he must be a very knowledgeable person. So he comes. Rama did not bend a bit to the proposal of coming back to Ayodhya. He did not agree to it. Then he said, I have to follow the dharma. I given my word to my father. I would not return back. I will stay in the forest for 14 years. Then I'll come back and take the kingdom. I will not do. And this sage called Jabali, he said, Rama, what are you talking? What is all this dharma and all those things? Why you have to keep up all the promise? Your father is already dead, is gone back. That means promise is gone. When the father is gone, the promise is also gone. Don't worry, come back to the kingdom, have a nice life, enjoy your life. And Rama got really angry and upset. How can you speak like that? Whether a person lives or dies, the promise that we make stays forever. Therefore, when we take the promise at the time of initiation, it is not only valid as long as the guru is there. Rest of our life until we die, that promise continues. Therefore, one should not take it so cheap, the promises. They're important. So coming back here, Buddhism exists before even Shankaracharya's appeared. We all know Shankaracharya's school of thought is Mayavada philosophy, Nirvishesham. Nirvishesham means very simple. Absolute truth is one. Everything else is Maya, illusion. Everything else is illusion. Me speaking is an illusion. You hearing to me is an illusion. The sound that's coming from out is an illusion. What is real then? Only God, the absolute truth, is real. Okay, can you define God? Yeah, I can define God. Nirvishesham. It doesn't have any attributes. Oh. Does he have a rupa, form? Nirupam. He doesn't have a form. He doesn't have an attribute. He doesn't have a name. He doesn't have any of these things. Nirgunam. No any qualities. No gunas. Nothing. Therefore, he cannot be called as he or she. It is it. 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 IT means not information technology. IT. It. It is it. That is what Adi Shankara said. Therefore, God is one. Everything else is false. Before Adi Shankaracharya, Buddhist philosophy was so prominent all over the world. Their philosophy is everything is void. Nothing is real. They also said nothing is real. Everything is voidism, is zero. Everything is zero. So easy way of remembering, Buddhism is zero. And then Mayavada philosophy, Adi Shankara philosophy is number one. Buddha made principle as zero. Shankara came, it is not zero, it is one. It is one. And later came Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, and then in the Madhvacharyas, we also have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, different schools of thoughts. Sunyavadam, Mayavadam, and that is Advaitam, then Vishishta Advaitam, Dvaitam, Achinta Beda Abheda Tattvam, Suddha Tattvam. So many different schools of thoughts came into existence. But again, Buddha's philosophy is zero. What's the goal of life? We all have to become zero. Zero. And Prabhupada says you can collect as many zeros as you want in your life. But if you don't add one in front of the zero, those zeros has no value. Correct? We all heard this one. You may be having a good bank balance, put a zero. You may have a good family, put a zero. You may be a master's and PhD, put a zero. The world respects you with fame and name, put a zero. What's the value of all these zeros? Until you have Krishna in the front as one. That Prabhupada very beautifully, nicely gave this philosophy in a very simple way for all of us to understand. No confusion there. Right? Now, many of us also think that, not us, outside people think that Buddhism is part of Vedic study, but the truth is not. It's quite surprising to see the Murti of Buddha, even in devotees' homes. They have no clue what Buddha philosophy is, but they think by having the Buddha, now we also have laughing Buddha. You all know that, right? That's a different Buddha altogether. If you have a laughing Buddha who has a big belly like this, it'll be. If you have a laughing Buddha, that idol in your house, the family will be always smiling and happy, laughing. There's no worries. That's the theory behind having laughing Buddha in the house. Well, you can have Krishna who can make life very happy. You don't need to get into this laughing Buddha and different Buddhas and all this, right? So the philosophy of Buddhism or Charvakam is that lead a life as much as possible, happy life. Yava jivet sukam jivet, rinam kritva kritam bibet, basme bhutyasya dehasya punarahama kutaha. This is called Charvaka philosophy, which is very close to other this materialistic philosophy. Yava jivet sukam jivet, as long as you live, lead a happy life. Live a happy life. Do whatever you want to do to be happy. And this philosophy is so very attractive, people easily get convinced. People easily get convinced. I can't remember this devotee, Prabhupada disciple, I can't remember the name. He was caught by doing something wrong. He was stealing or something. Then he was put into the prison and then brought in front of the court, in front of the judge. And then judge was, but before that he was hiding in one of the ISKCON temple, shaved his head and be away from the police. So he stayed there for a few weeks, few months, strictly following, getting up and doing Mangalarti and being among the devotees and doing all those things. But somehow the police found him. Then he went to the court and the judge asked, what do you do? You've done a big crime of stealing something. So what are you doing now? I get up in the morning at 4 o'clock and do what? And then take a cold cold water shower. Then what? I don't eat all these things, only eat certain food. Oh, I eat only 2 times a day. And then I don't watch movies. I don't go into all these different magazines. I don't see those things. I don't listen to rock musics. And the judge gave a statement that the best punishment for him to go back to the ashram. We can't give any more punishment what he's going through now. The judge. So he's already going through suffering. According to the judge, this person was suffering by getting up in the morning and doing all those things, big austerity, right? The way, come on, guys, get out of this ashram life. Go. Do you know what's out there in the world? You're missing out all those things. Yavat jivet sukam jivet. As long as you do, just enjoy. Come on, enjoy. What's wrong in enjoying? Have you seen soul yet? What is the guarantee that soul exists? What is the guarantee your existence is because of previous life? Tell me one person who's seen his previous life. Do you know what's going to happen in the future after you die? We all become ash. We came from the ground, we go into the ground. That's all. Why are you worried about so much putting pressure to yourself, wanting to do something which you don't know, you've never seen? By the way, this is so attractive message. It just becomes, we become, oh my God, it's true. I've been chanting Krishna, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for 4 years, 5 years, 20 years, 30 years, but I have not seen Krishna yet. I have not realized anything yet. My previous life is not coming to my thought yet. What is the guarantee I'll go back to Krishna? People are there to delude us, pull us out from our path. From our path. This is the power of Maya. Power of Maya. Therefore, when that doesn't work, the Maya does another trick. Oh, he's quite strong, brahmachari. He's quite strong, very strong. The best thing to do, what to do him? Make fight among brahmacharis now. Maya does next action. How to create problems? Create problems between devotees. Therefore, when you don't like each other, what happens? You can't stay together. If I don't like to see you the next day morning in the Mangalarti, obviously I don't want to come to the Mangalarti next day morning. What I do? Quit the place. When I quit the place, am I going to go to another brahmacharya ashram? No, back into the market, Maya market. Again, punarapi jaranam, puranapi jaranam. Again take birth again, suffer again. Therefore, this Charvaka philosophy, which leads to Buddhism also and other religion also, is that Yavat jivet sukam jivet. So there's a beautiful conversation happened. There's a beautiful conversation happened between Adi Shankaracharya, who completely condemned this Charvak philosophy and Buddhism. There was a debate. A person who was an atheistic person, he was debating with Shankaracharya. He said that our philosophy is the best philosophy. What is your philosophy? Live life king size. Well, if you have to live, can you give me the purport of your philosophy? Yes, our philosophy is enjoy the senses to the max. As long as you could do it. That is the goal of human life. Purpose of human life is to enjoy the senses to the best. So you mean you can, Shankaracharya asked then, so if you eat, say you would like to eat jamuns, how many jamuns can you eat? There's one devotee in the history, we hear that there was a competition of jamuns. How many jamuns one devotee can eat? And there was someone who ate 50 jamuns. One of our sannyasi. I don't know who that was. He had 50.
Keshav Bharati Maharaj.
Oh. So there was a competition. Who can eat? Brahmacharis were having a competition. Who can eat more jamuns? And this person eats so many jamuns. But after eating 50 jamuns, you give another just one jamun to that person. You feel like throwing out. It doesn't go inside. You hate jamuns after that. Right? You hate. The pleasures are like that. We want it. We want it. We want it. I will do anything for that, but I want to get it. I want to satisfy my sense. I want it. And that is called karma. The point where we reach, we cannot live without that is called karma. Karma means I cannot survive without having that in my life, whatever it can be. Satisfying the eyes, satisfying the smell, satisfying the ears, satisfying the tongue, satisfying the touch. I cannot live a moment without satisfying that sense. It's called karma. Therefore, this Charvaka, this person was telling, enjoy, man. Shankara said, what in case if you if you get to the max stage of enjoyment, what in case after that? After that, you cannot enjoy. That man said, well, pause and enjoy again. Today I enjoyed and finished. Tomorrow I can start again. Well, if you want to continue enjoying, you need to have money, buddy. You have to have money. You have to have money. For any enjoyment, it's not come for free. You have to pay for it. You got to pay for it. Any enjoyment in our life, we got to pay for it. Either financially or physically. We have to drain our body to enjoy something. It's a truth. Therefore, we have to pay for any enjoyment. Therefore, Shankara was asking, if you have to pay, that means you need money. And our friend, atheist friend said, well, take loan. Take a loan and enjoy. Well, if you take a loan, you have to pay back. He said, Rinam Kritva. He said, why you have to pay back? Just take the money and run away and enjoy. You don't need to pay back anyone. Take mortgage, loan, anything. Enjoy. You don't need to pay back. Well, if you don't pay back, bad karma comes. Shankara says, bad karma comes. Then our atheist said, what is karma? What is this karma concept? Well, if you do bad things, you have to suffer. If you do good things, you have to enjoy. If you take money for your enjoyment, you don't pay back, it's a bad karma, you have to suffer. Okay. Then he said, there is no concept of karma. Life is only one time. There is no previous life which is going to carry. Therefore, I don't worry about karma. There's no karma. So you don't believe in soul? Our atheist friend said, soul doesn't exist. Soul doesn't exist. So therefore, soul doesn't exist. It is only the body. Even if you think soul exists, body and soul are one. There's no difference between body and soul. It's one and the same. We take birth, and as long as we live, the body and soul together is there. You call it a soul or you call it the body, it's all same for me. When we die, that is finished. Therefore, no need to worry about any of these things. That is the philosophy heavily preached by the materialistic people who falls into the heterodox schools of thought. Schools of thought. So that Buddhism drives us to that particular point where we are all void. It's nothing real within us. There are different philosophies, principles that they follow within the Buddhism. That is Sarvam Shanikam Shanikam. This is the first principle they have. Sarvam Shanikam Shanikam means everything is momentary. Everything is momentary. What I'm speaking is momentary. It's not going to be carried. If you say Atma, Atma is also momentary. Every single microsecond, Atma changes. This is Buddhism. If Atma exists, Atma keeps changing. Atma keeps changing within one body, like how body changes. What is it? Dehino asmin yata dehi kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhira satra namuyate. Body keeps changing. Krishna says body keeps changing, but Atma remains same. But Buddhist philosophy is Atma keeps momentary. It keeps changing. It's not the same Atma. It's momentary. That's their philosophy. Sarvam Kshanikam Shanikam. Next is Dukkam Dukkam. For us, we are in a miserable condition. We are in a miserable state. Therefore, we have to get out of this place. They also speak like this. We have to get out of this place. The nature is to suffer here in this world. Dukkam Dukkam. Swalakshanam Swalakshanam. The nature, whatever the object we see is not true. Whatever the object we are perceiving outside is not really true. Swalakshanam Swalakshanam. Sunyam Sunyam. This is the fourth principle. Sunyam Sunyam. Everything is void. Everything is zero. Therefore, the goal of our existence is to attain moksha. Now you're going to ask the question. Everything is void. Then what is the concept of moksha? Moksha for them means we become one with God. There is no God. We become zero, nothing. Our existence, we have to make our existence non-existence. our existence now with a body of male, female, white, black, whatever it is, our purpose is to make a non-existence of us. That is moksha for them. This is Buddhism. Again, the Buddhism has 4 different schools of thought. And for the time's sake, we won't get into that one. There are 4 different classes of Buddhism, schools of thought. They all vary in a slight ways. Madhyamika, Yogacharya, Sautranika, Vaibhashika. These are 4 disciples of Buddha as sub-schools of thought arrived. So to summarize what we saw today is on this particular beautiful verse, reciting the verse one more time, and open up for any discussions here. Devadvisham nikhama vartmani nishtitanam Purvirmayena vigitabir adrishya durbihi Lokan grinathan mati vimoha ati pralobham Vesham vidhaya bahubasyate aupadharmyam. So we learned about Buddhism to some extent, how they fall into different schools of thought. They do not believe in Vedas, but they appear to be a pious people. The Lord appeared as Buddha to deviate people who take the name of Vedas and misuse the principles of Vedas for their own satisfaction by killing animals and so forth. For that purpose, he appeared to stop that. With that said, thank you all very much. Please forgive me for any offenses. Thank you, Maharaj. Any discussions, questions?
Hare Krishna. Do we have any more information anywhere on what was going on in this particular Kali Yuga that's explained here?
In Kali Yuga?
In this particular Kali Yuga that's mentioned, where the atheists are on unseen airships killing inhabitants of different planets?
I couldn't find one. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I mean, I went through the different commentaries also, but there's no much details given on that. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu. At least I don't know about that. Yeah.
Lal Gopal Prabhu, thank you for your eloquent Srimad Bhagavatam class. Charvaka Muni also said to enjoy, eat as much ghee as possible, beg, borrow, or steal, but get ghee. And Jesus Christ was also persecuted by the sword Tisha. What was the fault of Jesus Christ? There's no fault. Prabhupada said Jesus' only fault was he was God conscious, but still the atheists could not tolerate him, and they crucified an innocent person who was simply preaching God consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu was just giving a comment that Jesus was of no fault. He was teaching God consciousness to other world. Yeah, thank you for adding that nice point. Anyone else? Yes, Prabhu.
So in America, a lot of people are getting attracted, like you were saying, to Buddhism. They're feeling kind of dissatisfied with Western traditions, whatever's here, and they're going to the East, but they're going to Buddhism, mostly the young people.
Yep.
And how do we attract them the proper way? How do we divert their energy so that they can come to the ultimate reality?
Yeah, people who are looking for an alternate solution from Western philosophy, this Charvak philosophy and others, go to thinking that they're getting something better and go to East, but they end up in Buddhism. So how do we do? What do we do about that? Is invite them to our temple. Let them experience what's going on here, because teaching to them and preaching to them is going to be too dry and very philosophical, and they may not even get what we are trying to say, unless and until they are in the level of, they understand some philosophical differences. If they don't have any philosophical knowledge, the best thing for us we can do for them is to invite them and give them some prasadam and let them participate, and that will work within them. And then they'll be in a submissive mode to receive what we are trying to tell them later. Let them come for a few, if we can invite them and let them come for a few days. When they're ready, when the prasadam starts working, then we start speaking, will be effective. But if you're going to speak to them first without putting in something inside, then that may be very hard for those people to get it. Very simple, practical thing. Anyone else? We done? Yeah.
Are there different levels? Like today, I've been thinking about Prabhupada's sannyas acceptance, and I'm just wondering: is in this the Buddha's traditions and things like that? Do they have, some hierarchy?
Yeah, definitely. They are very organized too. They are also very organized. They also have different stages where one has to get to that particular, like, how we have in Christianity, Pope is the highest level. You got permission, the Catholics get permission from Pope. Likewise, they also there. But I don't know the details of this different things, but definitely they have different things.
The current leader of the Buddhists, the Dalai Lama, he was exiled from his home in Tibet, and he is now in India, and he visited Mayapur, and he was very favorable to the Krishna consciousness movement. He offered a garland to Srila Prabhupada.
So Prabhu is just adding up. I'm just repeating because of whoever is watching. Oh, they get it? Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay, with that said, thank you all for giving me an opportunity to share something. Please forgive me for any offenses. Vancha kalpatarabhyascha kripa sindhu bhavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta kodi vaishnavandi ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.